Hello ladies and gentlemen, on this video tutorial I'm going to be demonstrating several new effects that you can use on your video game design challenge on the web-based software Piskel. So if we take a look at the right effects toolbar, there's many different new options here, but we're going to focus on layers first. If I click the first layer, you can see I can move this black square, and if I click the next square or the next layer, I can move the red circle. So although they exist in the same artwork, as you can see here, they're faded and lighter depending on if the correct layer is selected, which allows me to quickly and easily move and manipulate them separately. You can also add a new layer by clicking the plus add layer, or you can even move layers up and down, or essentially move objects up and down on top of each other real quickly and easily as well. You can also merge these layers down together so they become one, which allows all your artwork to be on the same layer. Next, let's look at the transformation options here. Here you can flip shapes vertically or horizontally depending on where they're at in the canvas. You can also rotate them around 45 degrees. It's a little bit easier to show if you have a circle instead of just circles, so you can see how that rotates. You can also clone things, and you can also make sure that they image get it aligned in the center. Now let's take a look at the preferences. If you look at the preferences, there's a lot of settings here that you can mess around with and play with, but most of these are pretty unnecessary in my humble opinion when using this as animation software. Next is the resize options here. This is very helpful because you can manipulate the size of your canvas. The default setting is 32 by 32 for your width and your height. So if I simply double this, it's going to allow me to increase the amount of detail that I can put into my artwork. So play around with these features so you can explore the different options. You got to be careful though, because sometimes you can cut off your artwork if you're not careful. Just simply undo if you do a mistake like this. So just be mindful of that. As you're working, you might play around with some of these different features with the resize canvas tool, maintain aspect ratio, and your anchor button here. It basically allows how your canvas is going to expand or contract depending if you increase or decrease the size. I also want to show you how to make your artwork a little bit more detailed. Let's say I go 64 by 64, but also resize the canvas content. It's not going to appear like anything changed, but if you look at the amount of detail now that I can create with my pen tool, it's increased twice as much. So that can be really helpful as well. Saving. When you want to save your work, you always want to save in your gallery. That's going to allow all your work to be saved in this section on your load screen at the beginning of the page, beginning of the website, which is called your gallery. So it's all your current works that you have access to. There's also other ways of saving, like saving your browser or saving as a Piskel file, but try to use save as save in your gallery as your default. That's going to be the most effective way of making yours work. Export is something you're going to use when you're done with your project entirety. You can manipulate the scale, you can manipulate the loop, and you can download it as a GIF, which is a looping animated image. You also have an option to import things as well, but I would recommend that you steer clear of this because we're creating our own original artwork. The top right option here has to do with making your images actually move, which refers to your frames per second. So you can increase and decrease this speed. If you look on the top left here, you'll notice that there's only one square filled. If you add another square or duplicate it, you're going to be able to see or have the ability to create an animation. So to create this animation, what I usually recommend is you duplicate your work, and then you grab the hand tool, and then you can move it down slightly. And you'll notice that it's pulsating, going up and down. That's because it's flickering back and forth from these 2 or 3 frames here. So play around with a simple animation by using the frames per second, as well as creating multiple slides to help you with doing some basic animations here. Alright guys, that's it for this video. Hopefully that was helpful, learning some of the different effects on the right side of your Piskel web-based software here. Use each effect, play around with it to be proficient with it, so you're ready to work on your video game design challenge. Work hard, have fun, and be creative. Thanks guys.